Our story begins on a battlefield, where we see a man named Yemo fighting a massive group of demonic monsters. After he finishes them off, he turns to the rest of his teammates and says, exhausted, "We did it." One of them replies, "Yeah, it's time to carry out the next part of the plan." Suddenly, two of his teammates appear behind him and ambush him, stabbing him all over his body. They gather around him like beasts. Yemo falls to the ground, his body trembling weakly, and says, "Why did you betray me?" Then he tells them, "Every single one of you better remember what I'm about to say." He suddenly screams in anger, "Sooner or later, I'll drag all of you, one by one, down to the depths of hell, like the trash you are." But suddenly, he wakes up again to the sound of a woman calling him, telling him to wake up. As soon as he opens his eyes, he finds his teacher in front of him, surrounded by a group of students, saying, "Teacher, he woke up." The teacher stands in front of Yemo, who had been lying on the ground, and asks him, "How are you now, Yemo?" But he doesn't understand what's happening, and thinks to himself, "Wasn't I dead? Where am I? Could this place be hell?" Honestly, it would make sense, but it's kind of relaxing if hell is a school. As he wakes up, one of the students mocks him, saying, "Wow, what a spoiled kid, Master Yemo," collapsing and fainting the moment his turn in the test comes. Another student sarcastically replies, "Isn't this the young master who got disowned by his family?" A girl says to a boy beside her named Lin, "Lin, let's continue the test. Don't waste your time on this trash. Let's see if you'll break another record this time." Lin confidently replies, "Of course, without a doubt." The teacher claps and tells the students, "All right, everyone, go finish your fitness test." At that moment, in the blink of an eye, a flood of memories rushes into Yemo's mind. He realizes, this place isn't the Loei continent. I've been transferred into another person's body named Yemo. According to the memories he inherited, this Yemo belonged to a noble family, but suffered from blocked energy meridians, which made him weak and useless. After his parents died, his relatives abandoned him and expelled him from the clan. He continues thinking, even though this all sounds like fantasy, I never imagined I'd get a second chance in another world. Based on the memories he inherited, it seems that the people of this world still haven't discovered spiritual cultivation. In the environment where humans live, there's a unique energy spread everywhere all the time, known as spiritual energy. Usually, it's difficult to extract or benefit from it, but the people of the Loei continent discovered a way to gather and absorb the spiritual energy in the air. And right now, I can feel it, Yemo thinks, but it's very weak. He begins gathering the surrounding energy as much as he can and absorbs it, saying, "Since I came from the Loei continent, I know the best methods to absorb spiritual energy. Channeling it into the body and containing it is the path to strengthening the body and advancing cultivation. That's the essence of a spiritual practitioner." The energy he generated at the first stage was enough to open his blocked energy channels. "I think my strength has increased too. Once I regain my previous rank, the 11th level of cultivation, I'll be able to force my way back to the Loei continent and take revenge on those traitors one by one." He sighs and says, "Since my power is only at the first stage now, there's no choice but to start from scratch again." He looks toward the field and says, "Let me test the changes in my body after awakening. I need to know this body's talent." Yemo walks toward the teacher, and the boy next to her says, "Why are you here? Did you recover from your illness or something?" Yemo replies, "Isn't today the 100-meter race? I want to join the test too." The boy laughs sarcastically. "Someone like you wants to compete? The next round is reserved for Lin." Another student says, "Yeah, you're right. He's the school's record holder and already guaranteed admission to the sports university." Even Lin mocks him, saying, as if trash like him is afraid of embarrassment. The girl beside him agrees and laughs. Yemo thinks to himself, even though I'm only at the first stage of cultivation, the physical strength of a spiritual practitioner far surpasses that of ordinary people. The first boy says, "Fine, but you two will be the only ones. No one wants to compete against Lin." Yemo and Lin go to the field, each taking their positions, preparing to run. The countdown begins, and the starting gun fires. Lin immediately runs at full speed, but Yemo stays still. The other students mock him, saying, "Look at him, still frozen in place. Didn't we say he's completely useless?" But Yemo thinks calmly, "I gave you a 3-second head start. That should be enough." Then he suddenly starts running at incredible speed, so fast that the students and even the teacher are shocked. Yemo thinks, when the first spiritual practitioner appeared on the Loei continent, his power shook the very foundations of the world and changed its perceptions. Bodies that surpassed human limits, speed beyond reason, and perception beyond imagination. These are spiritual practitioners. The difference between them and ordinary humans is like the difference between a human and monkeys. A vast gap, like the distance between the earth and the stars. Yemo reaches the finish line, but before grabbing the rope, he stops and waits for Lin another 3 seconds. However, Lin still can't reach him, so Yemo grabs the rope himself and says, "I gave you 6 seconds." The teacher is shocked and looks at the stopwatch, then announces, "The result Yemo achieved is a new record, 9.88 seconds." Lin collapses onto the ground, sweating all over and struggling to catch his breath after running at full speed. He says in disbelief, "How is this possible? That doesn't make any sense." As for Yemo, he smiles while looking at his new body and thinks, "This body's talent isn't bad. Even though there's a huge gap between me and my previous body, this is just the beginning. I'll return to the position I was meant for, the peak." At that moment, we learn that Yemo was once the strongest practitioner on the Luwei continent. It only took him 50 years of training to surpass all the other experts. At the age of 65, he broke through the first stage of spiritual cultivation and became the strongest on the entire continent. But in the end, after defeating the Demon King who had taken over the Luwei continent, his reward was betrayal, surrounded by a pack of hyenas. After the race, Yemo enters the bathroom and thinks, "I'll need some special pills if I want to return to the first stage quickly." He opens his phone to check their prices, only to discover they're extremely expensive and the origin owner of the body didn't leave him any money. Although he can earn money by drawing talismans, he only has 50 yuan in his wallet, an amount far too small to even buy the cheapest materials. So he needs to find a way to make money quickly if he wants revenge. Only then can he buy cultivation pills and restore his strength. At that moment, Lin and his group enter the bathroom. Lin says, "So you're hiding here. You made me tired looking for you." Lin is the president of the strength club, and Wang is standing beside him, the president of the boxing club. Lin says angrily, "You embarrassed us today, so your protection fee for this month, you're paying it early." At that moment, Yemo recalls more of the original body's memories and thinks, "These bastards have been extorting him his whole life, forcing him to pay monthly fees under the excuse of protection, even though he already paid just a week ago." Lin tells Wang, "Leave this to me, brother. This guy's behavior is suspicious today." Wang replies mockingly, "What could a piece of trash like him possibly do?" He then charges at Yemo, throwing a punch and saying, "When I won first place in boxing, you were still just a kid." Yemo thinks, "The old Yemo would have endured this, but I'm not him." Suddenly he moves, dodging Wang's attack, thinking, "Your speed is way too slow." He counterattacks with a punch to Wang's face, sending him flying out of the bathroom. In the eyes of a spiritual practitioner, ordinary people are no different than helpless infants, Yemo thinks. He then attacks Wang's follower Li Liang, kicking him in the face and knocking him to the ground. Lin stands there shocked, saying, "Is this really Yemo?" Yemo stands confidently and says to the second follower, Fang Ping, "What's wrong? Are you scared?" They both charge at him at the same time. Lin shouts, "Stop underestimating us! Attack together!" But Yemo easily catches both their fists with one hand and squeezes so hard that they scream in pain, begging him to let go. Yemo smiles and says, "Why the rush? Let's take our time and have some fun." Lin, terrified and in tears, says, "I was wrong. I'm begging you. That's enough. Let go of my hand." Yemo throws them aside. Lin falls to the ground, trembling in fear, and says, "Please, young master, forgive me." At that moment, Wang gets up again and shouts angrily, "Damn it, how did this happen? You think I'll just let you go?" He charges at Yemo again, but Yemo turns and punches him in the face, breaking his teeth and sending him flying a second time. Then Yemo stands there menacingly and says, "If you do that again, the consequences won't be light." Lin screams in terror, "He's a monster, a real monster! We were wrong! We wronged you!" Fang Ping begs for mercy. Please don't come closer. Have mercy. Yemo says coldly, give me back what's mine. They don't understand at first and ask in fear, what do you mean? Yemo looks at them with a terrifying gaze and angrily says, everything you took from me. Lin immediately kneels down, trembling, and says, right away. He lowers his head and hands over the money in complete humiliation and fear, saying, everything is here. Yemo leaves the bathroom and finds students watching from afar and whispering about what happened. Then Lin shouts at them to quickly take Wang to the clinic.
Yemo thinks to himself, I might have gone too far in disciplining them without realizing it, but I doubt they'll dare report me. Staying at the school is no longer the right choice. The place is full of eyes and people watching me. I need to find a chance to leave and live somewhere else. He looks at the money he took and continues. Luckily, I now have some starting capital. Even if it's a small amount, it's enough to buy some low-grade materials to craft simple talismans. Finally, it's time for my first step toward revenge. We learn that talismans are one of the common methods used by spiritual practitioners in the early stages. All you need to do is mix spiritual energy with special ingredients and channel it into ritual mediums, and incredible effects will appear. Yemo begins preparing the talismans and thinks, even though I'm only at the first stage of cultivation, crafting them is easy for me. Once he finishes, he has 5 talismans ready. He holds them happily and thinks, selling these should bring in a decent amount of money. Then I'll find a suitable place to train and buy the pills I need. But time passes. 3 weeks go by. We see Yemo running in the street, training his body. He thinks, 3 weeks have passed, but I still haven't found any opportunity to sell the talismans. I guess people here feel uneasy about what I do. Maybe they think I'm crazy. Suddenly, while running, he notices a badly injured dog, its body covered in wounds. The dog collapses and loses consciousness. Yemo thinks, damn, it looks like it's taking its last breaths. Did a car hit it? He sits in front of it for a moment, then smiles and pulls out a talisman, saying, all right, I'll give you one. It won't cost you anything. Let's consider this a field test. It was a healing talisman. Its effect is to restore dead organ functions and completely heal the body. As soon as Yemo uses it, the dog gets up full of energy, all its wounds completely gone, and starts playing happily with Yemo. But suddenly, the dog growls angrily when it hears a boy's voice saying, it's just a mixed-breed dog. What's the point of searching for it? It's just a stray. What's the problem if it dies? We then learn that this person is Wang Ping, the only heir of the Wang family. He was speaking to Su Jing, the daughter of the Su family, who insisted on searching for the dog. She says angrily, Wang Ping, don't you have even a shred of conscience? You're the one who hit the dog. She turns and hits his arm, saying, I didn't tell you to follow me. I have to take this dog to the hospital. Suddenly, they see the dog playing with Yemo, who is holding it. Su Jing is shocked and says, isn't this the same dog we hit earlier? How did it recover like this? She asks Yemo how he did it, while Wang Ping gets annoyed and says, where did you come from, brat? Su Jing says, I clearly remember the car hit it so badly its whole body was injured. It was about to die. Yemo gently puts the dog down and notices the bag she's holding. It's from Ninghai Hospital. He thinks, is she in a hurry to treat someone? This is a good opportunity. He takes out one of his talismans and says, I used this. Su Jing is surprised and says, a talisman? Wang Ping immediately interrupts. Hey, you fraud, don't even try to trick us. He calls out to Su Jing, don't believe this scammer. He probably put the dog there on purpose to fool you. But Su Jing ignores him and asks Yemo, please, can this talisman cure someone in a permanent coma? She asks again with hope and desperation, can it save someone from a coma? Yemo thinks it's clear she's trying to save someone close to her. A coma is essentially damage to the soul. A soul purification talisman can repair and rebuild the spiritual essence with spiritual energy. It's the best treatment.
He tells her, "This is a soul purification talisman. It's especially effective for coma cases." Wang Ping is shocked and says, "Could it really cure Auntie?" Then he quickly adds, "You're just clinging to false hope out of desperation. You need to understand that." But Yimo cuts him off and says, "The method is simple. Just throw it toward the target. As for the price, the large one is 20,000 and the small one is 10,000. Immediately, Su Jing takes out her wallet and says, "I'll pay 50,000. Please give me all the talismans." Wang Ping is shocked and says, "Are you crazy?" He tries to grab her, but Yimo stops him, gripping his hand tightly and saying coldly, "I'm conducting my business, and she's trying to save a patient." Wang Ping feels intense pain and thinks, "My wrist, I can't move." Yimo continues firmly, "You are the one who should step aside." He throws him to the ground, then turns back to Su Jing with a gentle smile and says, "Deal." He takes the money and hands her the talismans, adding, "As for the remaining two, the yellow one is a protection talisman, and the red one is a fireball talisman. I hope you won't have to use them." Su Jing is impressed by his words and demeanor and thanks him. Yimo starts to leave, but she calls out to him, "Wait, I didn't catch your name." He waves his hand casually while walking away and tells her his name. Wang Ping then gets up and says to her, "That guy is a fraud. It's obvious to everyone." But Su Jing replies sadly, "I know this is madness, and the chance that he's telling the truth is very small. But the one lying in that hospital bed is my mother. So maybe, just maybe, he's right." Yimo leaves after finishing the deal, with the dog following him. He thinks, "Now that I have money, I need to find a place to settle down and then look for medicinal herbs to help with my training." But suddenly, as he walks, the dog stops in front of a nearby house and starts barking. Yimo looks toward the house and notices an intense spiritual energy radiating from it. He says, "That's spiritual energy." Then he notices a plant in the garden and says in shock, "That plant, it's a silverheart herb." At the same time, Su Jing and Wang Ping arrive at the hospital. Wang is still in pain from his hand that Yimo had grabbed, while a nurse treats his injury. Wang says angrily, "Damn that guy! He's definitely not a good person. I don't want to see him again." Meanwhile, Su Jing is in her mother's room. Her father, Su Zhen, a member of Ninghai City Council, is there with her. He says angrily, "Wang Ping kindly brought you to see your mother, and yet you humiliated him like that. Do you have any idea how this could harm our family? All because you got involved with some fraud? Do you know how people are mocking me?" We see nurses whispering and laughing. One of them says, "I heard she bought a talisman for tens of thousands of dollars. Even though she's a council member's daughter, she doesn't seem very smart." Another replies, "Money comes easily for rich families." Su Jing says sadly to her father, "I just want to try one more time, just once, even if it's the last time. I just want to do everything I can." Her father shouts angrily, "How many times are you going to repeat this? You must be crazy to believe such nonsense. What's next? Exorcism dances?" Su Jing raises her voice and says, "And what about you? What have you done during my mother's coma? How many times did you visit her? If you had sent her to a better hospital earlier, she might have recovered faster. But did you really try your best? Or do you just want me to sign the papers so you can live happily with your mistress while pretending to be a grieving husband?" His father raises his hand to slap her, shouting, "What do you even know?" But he stops at the last moment and lowers his hand, saying, "The older you get, the harder it is to control you." He then walks toward the door and says, "I'll go call the nurse to remove her life support." Su Jing shouts emotionally, "I won't allow that!" She takes out the talisman, places it in her palm, and holds her mother's hand as she lies on the bed. She says firmly, "No matter what, my mother will never abandon me." Suddenly, the talisman glows. Su Jing's eyes widen in shock as she hears her mother calling her. Her father turns around in disbelief and says, "What? She's talking?" Her mother, lying on the bed, says weakly, "Su Jing, my dear, you've lost so much weight during this time." We learn that her mother is Chu Rong, the second daughter of the Chu family. As soon as her husband sees this, he rushes out, shouting, "We need a nurse immediately! Come quickly! My wife is awake!" The doctors and nurses are shocked. What's happening here? The doctor rushes into Chu Rong's room and says, "We'll conduct a full examination immediately." After checking her, he says, "Although she has awakened, she's been bedridden for years, so she won't be able to get up for about a year." Su Jing looks at the talisman in her hand in shock and says, "It worked! The talisman really worked! Yes, that's what happened!" The doctor exclaims in disbelief, "But how? This is a miracle by all standards! This is unbelievable!" At that moment, Wang Ping enters, rubbing his eyes in shock when he sees Chu Rong awake. He says, "No, this can't be real. Could that guy actually be an immortal?" Chu Rong then sits up and hugs Su Jing, saying, "You've suffered so much during this time." Su Jing, in tears of joy, says, "Mom, you finally woke up." She wipes her tears and thinks to herself, "So God truly exists in this world. If I can meet him again, I'm willing to give everything I have." Now we move to Yi Mo, who buys the house where he saw the Silverheart herb. As soon as he gets it, he says, "Finally, I've moved out of that place." He says to himself, "This will be the first step in my plan to return to the Lowei continent. As for those bastards who betrayed me, I won't let a single one of them escape. But to return, I need to regain my previous rank. For that, I must find spiritual springs and spiritual materials. And those scum back in Lowei, they'd better be ready. The day I return from hell is not far." After some time, we see Yi Mo lying on his bed thinking, "After observing for a while, I've discovered that the spiritual energy in this world gradually dissipates. If this continues, there will be no way to cultivate properly. To solve this, I need to find places or items that contain spiritual energy, and the two things that meet this condition are spiritual springs and spiritual materials." He looks at the Silverheart herb he brought and placed in his room and continues, "I didn't expect a Silverheart herb to grow in this house's garden. This is a type of spiritual material. The difference between spiritual materials and ordinary herbs is that spiritual materials can be refined into pills that help cultivators break through their ranks." He continues thinking, "Right now, all I need to do is wait for the Silverheart herb to mature. Then I can refine it into a spirit-gathering pill and advance to the second stage. But pill refining creates a lot of noise, which could bring unnecessary trouble and slow my progress. There's no telling when something unexpected might happen, so I need to start cultivating immediately." Yi Mo goes out again and sets up his talisman stall on the street, but as usual, no one buys anything. He says, "The materials needed to make spirit-gathering pills are very expensive, and I still need money. It seems that just setting up a street stall won't be enough. Even though I tried to keep a low profile while selling talismans, trouble still finds its way to me." Out of the corner of his eye, he notices a group of people and thinks, "They're back, and they're patient. They've been keeping their distance the whole time. They first appeared on the third day after I set up my stall. This is clearly organized and planned. And today they came in greater numbers. Have they finally decided to make a move?" Yi Mo gathers his talismans and says, "In that case, let's see who's so interested in me." Suddenly, a girl appears in front of him in surprise and says, "I haven't seen you at school these past few days. Don't tell me you're running a stall here?" She continues, "Well, that makes sense. Your current situation. Your body's weak, your family abandoned you, so you must be broke. But has it gotten that bad that you can't even afford school anymore?" Yi Mo looks at her silently for a moment and thinks, "Right, I remember now. She's a classmate, one of the few who defended the original Yi Mo." She opens her bag to take out her wallet and says, "I'll lend you some money. You should at least go back to school." But Yi Mo walks past her and says, "Sorry, I have something I need to deal with today. Let's talk about it some other time." The girl is shocked and calls out to him angrily. Then she thinks to herself, "Something's not right. Did he get into trouble?" Yi Mo walks into a side street and thinks, "Based on my perception, there are 7 on my left and 3 on my right. Fine, I'll deal with all of you at once." Suddenly, he dashes forward at high speed, forcing the people who were watching him to reveal themselves. They shout, "He's trying to run! Catch him!" After a while, Yi Mo stops in a dead-end alley. A man holding a stick appears behind him and says, "There's no escape."
Yi-mo calmly replies, "Tell the rest to come out too." The rest of the gang appears, and a bald man among them cracks his knuckles and says, "You've got some skills, kid." Yi-mo stands confidently and asks, "What do you want from me? You've been watching me for days. Who sent you?" The bald man smiles, his eyes turning cold and menacing, and says, "You provoked a powerful family, and yet you still have the guts to sell medicine here like nothing happened. Looks like you've got a death wish. I don't understand how a girl from the Ning family could fall for trash like you, but I don't think you'll have any luck left in this life." Yi-mo thinks, a girl from the Ning family? Ning King? According to the original body's memories, they were engaged, but after Yi-mo was expelled from the Yi family due to his weak body, the engagement should have been broken. Could it be the Ning family behind this? And all for such a trivial reason? They actually want my life? This doesn't make sense.
Yi-mo thinks, so there really is another person behind this. I'll find out the truth once I start interrogating them. At that moment, the girl who met Yi-mo earlier appears and sees the group surrounding him. She gets scared and thinks, are these thugs trying to kill him? How did he get involved with people like them? He's already weak. He can't even beat a normal person, let alone a whole group, and they're armed too. I need to call the police. She quickly takes out her phone to call, but suddenly a large man appears behind her and says, "Oh, looks like we've got a little stray cat here too." Startled, she turns around and sees a man with a scarred face staring at her menacingly. He says, "Trying to call someone?" Then he grabs her. She screams, "Let me go!" The rest of the gang hears her and turns in surprise, saying, "It's the boss! The boss is here!" The boss walks forward while holding the girl. Yi-mo looks at her and thinks, Wang Ying, what is she doing here? The boss calls out to Yi-mo and says mockingly, "Kid, looks like you're lucky with women. Wasn't the Ning family girl enough? Now another one is following you?" Wang Ying shouts, "Run, Yi-mo! They have knives!" Then she says nervously to the boss, "How dare you touch me? I'm from the Wang family in the capital." The boss laughs sarcastically. "The Wang family? And who in the capital would know if I finish you off here?" She panics. "No, The boss pulls out a knife and moves closer with a terrifying smile, saying, "Too late to regret now." At that moment, Yi-mo suddenly moves, striking the boss's hand and knocking the knife away. He grabs him by the face and thinks, I know this will attract unnecessary attention, but letting others capture me has never been my style. He slams the boss's head into the wall behind him while holding him up. Wang Ying watches in shock, thinking, is this really Yi-mo? The rest of the gang stands frozen, watching in fear and disbelief. Yi-mo looks at them with a threatening gaze and says, "I'll ask only once, who sent you?" Meanwhile, we see a police officer speaking to his superior, Yang, saying, "Scar and his men have moved, Brother Yang." Yang responds in shock. "What? Where did they go today? What are they doing?" The officer replies over the radio. "They moved to the back alley of East Street. About 30 of them. It looks like they're confronting a young man, and they're holding a girl hostage." Yang is shocked and speeds off in his car, saying, "What? Notify headquarters immediately and send reinforcements, but don't inform Wang Li." Then he says urgently, "Kid, don't act recklessly, you hear me? These are drug dealers with blood on their hands. Where are they? Speak." The officer replies, "Captain, it seems reinforcements won't be necessary. That young man, he's already taken them all down." We then see Yi-mo standing among the gang members lying on the ground after defeating them all. He grabs one of them by the head, and the man says in fear and shock, "Are you really that trash from the Yi family? Damn it, Scar should never have accepted this job." Yi-mo stares at him coldly and says, "Where did you get your information from? The Ning family or someone else? I have 3 seconds to give me a convincing answer." The man trembles and says, "Wait, I'll tell you." But before he can finish, the police arrive and order Yi-mo to stop. Officer Yang runs towards him and says, "Don't do it. If you continue, the situation will change completely." Yi-mo glances at them and thinks, "The police. Could this be a coincidence? Should I use more force? In the end, these people already saw my true strength." But he releases the man and says, "Understood." The man quickly drops to the ground, gasping in relief. "Ha! We survived!" Yimo thinks, my current strength isn't enough to oppose the authorities yet. Officer Yang exhales in relief and thinks, they were lucky we arrived in time. Otherwise, I can't imagine what this guy would have done. He defeated so many dangerous drug dealers alone. This is unbelievable. He approaches Yimo and says, hello, young man. I'm Yang Chun from the Ninghai City Inspection Bureau. Wang Ying greets him, and Yang points to another officer, saying, don't worry, my colleague here saw everything. The other officer introduces himself as Lo Wen. Yimo looks at them cautiously and thinks, did he see everything? As expected from government surveillance networks, they're everywhere. Then Yang says, I'll leave Lo Wen to take your statement later. Don't worry, we won't ask about anything unrelated to the incident. Lo Wen nods. Understood, Brother Yang. But suddenly, they hear someone behind them say, Officer Wang Li, they're over here. At that moment, Captain Wang Li appears, smiling confidently and says, if I didn't come, the suspect might have escaped. He looks at Yimo and says firmly, you, student, you are suspected of intentional assault and fighting.